So I've been consistently saying, yes, you're gonna get bounces when you get these big sell-offs, 2%, 3%, you get that kind of mid-level panic that triggers a bounce, but by no means is the market at a near bottom yet. So first support is 12 to 13,000. I think in the near term, we're gonna see a little bit of a bounce, then a wave down to 12 to 13, and then I do worry that you're going sub 10 to 8, maybe even worst case scenario, 3,500. There's no doubt that there's panic in the markets, but per the VIX, we haven't hit the levels where I would say there's a market bottom yet, right? So I've been consistently saying, yes, you're gonna get bounces when you get these big sell-offs, 2%, 3%, you get that kind of mid-level panic that triggers a bounce, but by no means is the market at a near bottom yet.
Why do you say that? Why aren't we near a bottom?
Well, because number one, you still have a Fed that's aggressively hiking. As of now, we'll see what the CPI data is coming up, but for the most part, the Fed is hiking. We have an economy that's going to slow down, and I think to be honest, that's one of the biggest concerns I have, and this is kind of shocking. This will be shocking to people, but you have $1 trillion in savings that consumers accumulated over COVID, right? And so the Fed is saying, oh, look at these jobs numbers. They're still very, very strong. People are still spending. The consumer's still doing well. So we have to continue to hike rates. Problem is, consumers are going to run out of that money that they saved probably by mid next year. And my biggest fear, and this is this could be what triggers a massive kind of recession, if not worse, is that when they run out of money and the Fed has just hiked and hiked into it, there's going to be a cliff dive in the economy. Yeah, when people save a ton of money from not driving to work, from not taking trips, there's going to be a lag effect for economic hurt. But once people run out of money, this is what, again, keeps me up at night, is that the Fed, for some reason, doesn't seem to be allowing for that or understanding that. So they're like, oh, the jobs numbers are strong, so we're going to continue to hike, this and this. But I'm telling them, at some point, you are going to see the consumer run out of money, and that is going to kill the economy fast.
The Federal Reserve, if they do pivot by next year, does that signal to you a bottom in the markets by next year?
So my guess is it will signal a major bounce. But again, like I said before, stock market to me, 5-10 years before we make a new all-time high. But you know what it's gonna put a bottom in, and there's gonna be a new bull market. Bitcoin and gold will outperform. Absolutely. As soon as you get a pivot, gold is gonna rip because the dollar will fall. And Bitcoin still has some downside because it's still a risk asset. But down the line in like a year, I do expect a major bottom in Bitcoin.
Hold up. So are you saying the NASDAQ is gonna stay flat for 10 years as well?
So not flat. Let's be clear on this. Not making new all-time highs.
No new all-time highs.
Think about the .com, right? It took 15 years to make new all-time highs on the NASDAQ. Yeah. If you look at the Brazilian market, if you look at the Hang Seng, both those markets made their highs in 2003, and they have never taken out those highs, but you've still had mini bull markets in there with huge moves to the upside.
Okay, so wouldn't that mean that Bitcoin isn't going to make new all-time highs because it's been correlated with the stock market?
Yeah, so you would think that it wouldn't make new all-time highs, but I actually think that there will be a pivot in Bitcoin as it matures, as regulation helps people feel more confident, institutions feel more confident. You're going to start to see it being treated much more like gold, which will then
it's going to start diverging from the stocks.
It will. Not yet. I want to be clear to everyone out there. It's still going to take some time, but there will be probably in about 12 months a divergence that begins.
Bitcoin forecast. Let's go. 6K was your last downside. What are you sticking to that?
So first support is 12 to 13,000. I think in the near term we're going to see a little bit of a bounce, then a wave down to 12 to 13, and then I do worry that you're going sub 10 to 8, maybe even worst case scenario 3,500. 3,500, very small percentage, but that would be the equivalent of Amazon.com's collapse in the .com era if it were to equal that. Gold, I'm still a huge bull on gold. Remember, dollar's up 20% this year. Gold at the lowest was down 7%. If the correlation with gold and the dollar should have meant gold was down 20% when the dollar was up 20%. So the fact that it's only down 7 or now only down 5 or so, it tells me that big money's buying gold. That means it's going up. I'm a buyer of gold.